Started here. Thanks for joining us on the first day of what will be a busy month of May with the INDYCAR Grand Prix kicking things off. Two great champions here. The French are on time, by the way. The Australian is on Aussie time. Do you have it on here? I thought we just did a test. Let's see.
I was just going to say it's a win and safe that we're on time.
We good on this mic?
Yep, we're back.
Perfect. Simon Pagenaud, Sebastien Bourdais. Pagenaud has won this race twice. Sebastien Bourdais is not, but is third in points as we come into this month of May. So let's get started. Just kind of an overview. We'll start with the drivers won two races here on the road course.
Hello.
Talk about the success you've had. You've won the pole. You've won the race a couple times. This has been a good place for you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this track. It's certainly the most advanced and safe as well track that we go to. It's a lot of fun here. It's very European style racing, pretty flat track with very technical corners and medium speed corners in turn 4. So it's very similar to actually the track I grew up on in France. So I think that's probably why I like this kind of technique. Corners technique. So the test was really good. We really found some things that I enjoyed with this car. We're going to test some more things to make me feel it even better tomorrow. So practice one's going to be important for the weekend, and from there, it's obviously a pretty quick weekend. So 2-day weekend, we try to put all we can in qualifying, and then from there, it's usually a race where you want to qualify up front for. So. We'll see. It should be a bit different than the last 2 years. It should be a bit warmer as well. So that should change how the race is going to go.
Sebastien, talk about it from your perspective. Last year's race didn't last very long, a couple 3 laps as I recall. But this is a place where there's a lot of passing opportunities, and you don't have to win the pole. Although the last 3 race winners here have won the pole, you don't have to win the pole here in this circuit.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think I managed 28 laps over the last 2 editions, so try and up that a little bit. We had a mechanical failure 2 years ago, and last year another mechanical failure. So it's kind of weird because we never have really even between the KV and the Dale Coyne with Vassar and Sylvan, we've never really had any mechanical issues other than here. So kind of strange, but hope that we got this behind us. And yeah, just a fun track, like Simon was saying. Just a lot of passing opportunities, and especially with the new aero kit this year, I think it'll be quite an interesting race, and even more so if the weather comes into play. Which right now, I guess there's some pretty serious chances of rain on Saturday. So we'll see. But regardless, it's always a fun weekend, a great way to start the month, and looking forward to it.
Arnie has a mic, so let's start here. Let's start with Bruce. Bruce is closest to you.
This is by far and away the smoothest road course that you race on anywhere. The other road courses have their little quirks and all that. Does the lack of quirks, bumps, or anything change the dynamic of how a driver approaches a road course race? Because a lot of times at those other courses, you can make the bumps work in your favor.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is the one where, because you trim and the fact that it's very smooth, you end up running the lowest ride heights of the whole season, for sure, by quite a bit. So I'd say it definitely negates some of the sensitivity that the cars can have. So yeah, you can get a balance quite close here to where you really want it. And yeah, but it obviously is true for everybody. So, it's kind of a catch, and I think the temperatures being a lot hotter than we've seen compared to obviously the test where it was really cold. We had some decent track temp, but temperature-wise, we had a lot of downforce, so we could trim. I think we'll probably end up seeing ourselves putting quite a bit of downforce back on the cars, just to get the feel back.
Over.
Yeah, I think, like Seb said, is the fact there's less bumps also tightens the gap with everybody. You know, every car's just behave better because there's less bumps, and you can be more aggressive as a driver, also push the limits. So it definitely is going to be pretty tight, I think, this weekend for everybody, like we saw at the tests. But you know, it's definitely more fun to drive for us, even though it's harder to make a difference.
Over on the left, David. Oh, David doesn't have the mic. Jim does.
Sorry about that. You guys both referenced how you think this race might be a little bit different than it has been in the past couple of years. Can you talk about why a little bit?
Well, just because obviously it was just really difficult to get to anyone, you know, in the last couple of years really with the aero kit. So I think you know, we've definitely seen that the cars are a lot less impacted following someone. The draft is still pretty decent, so I think we'll be in a position to put on a far better show than we have in the last couple of years.
I was just going to follow up, or Simon, if you had anything to add to that.
Yeah, I think, you know, the cars behave very differently. Not just the aero. Certainly the aero is a big effect, but the mechanical balance has changed quite a bit with the weight distribution forward. So the cars are very different to drive in general. I think a lot of people haven't found out yet what they need from their car to you know, make it work. So I think, you know, we're starting to be 5 races in, so people are starting to figure it out now. So it's going to get even tighter and tighter, and I think you know, being such universal product, I mean, it's a spec series pretty much. Everybody should be pretty close.
So I just want to follow on passing then. We've had at 3 of the 4 races, we've had, I think, somewhere near twice as many passes as there were with the previous last year, with the old aero kits. Do you anticipate that kind of being the case this year, or this weekend?
Yeah, I think the drafting's pretty good here. You know, the drafting in general with these cars has been strong on the straightaway, so you can certainly get sucked up really well. Like Seb said, you can follow closer and not get as affected as before. So there's more opportunities for sure. Now we'll see how many restarts there is, because here is always very exciting on restarts because it's such a long straightaway. There's a lot of action into turn 1. Yeah, okay. I get excited.
Jordan?
Simon, does the 2 wins here at this track for you make you feel like this could be the race where your season kind of turns more towards how it's been the last couple of years for you?
Well, I hope I can repeat. Yeah, I definitely need it at this time. But yeah, it's unfortunate we haven't had a good start of the season. Performance is there anyways. It's just, you know, we've got to turn things around a little bit. I don't want to go into details of what happened every race. It's just what it is. It's racing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But certainly here has always been a good place for us. So we've got also some evolution coming that I should be more comfortable with. And I'm really hopeful that it would be the weekend where we can start showing our strength.
Yeah, and you mentioned that this was similar to the track you grew up on in France. How exactly is it similar to that track?
The braking zones, the way to brake, the technical aspect of the corners, how tight it is. I found it quite similar to my home track. There's also that turn 4 complex. It requires similar techniques to a corner that I know there. So it just reminds me of my hometown, of my home track. So I don't know. That's, you know, sometimes you just can't explain it.
Wolfgang?
I have a follow-up, Simon, what colleague already asked with your home track. So you think it's an advantage that you know already your home track compared to here very similar for the race?
Like I said, sometimes you can't explain it. It's just, you know, you feel comfortable because of the nature of the corners, and it's easy for you to repeat and be consistent with it. So I think that's the reason.
Bob, down here in front.
Gentlemen, I'm curious what your opinions were of the GP when it started 5 years ago, and whether those opinions or feelings have changed or remained the same now that we're heading into the 5th edition of this.
Yeah, I thought he was asking you.
Well, I think he's asking both.
I said gentlemen, so.
Gentlemen, start your engines. I think it's fantastic. I think, you know, it's fantastic to start the month of May with this event. I think, you know, it just shows the true nature of the Verizon INDYCAR series. We race road course, street course, oval, super speedway, short ovals, and here we demonstrating what the series is all about and what INDYCAR is all about, with the big wings to start the month, and you know, using the road course, and then we're going to go the other way with the speedway wings next week. So that's to me it's exciting, because the fans can really see what INDYCAR is all about in 1 month. So kicking off the first race at the speedway, at the road course here, is always special. And for us to demonstrate our skills on both is important.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think it's, you know, that's pretty much it. It's always a fun weekend, a good place to start the month. I think there's less of the need, obviously, to have, you know, endless days of testing at the speedway. There's not as much advances technologically. There's no, you know, like, new track record every day, that's as it was in you know, a long time ago. So I think we need to, you know, show what the series is about, and explain and share more, and I think it's a great way. You know, there's obviously an awesome facility on the road course, which we put on a really good show. So it was a shame not to do that before, and I think it's a great thing that we do it now.
Just to follow up, is it difficult to concentrate on the GP when you know you've got the big one coming up here in a couple of weeks?
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
yes and no. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't need 10 days to concentrate for the 500. You know, the Grand Prix is a 2-day event, Friday, Saturday. It's just hard for the teams more than for us, really. You know, just turning the equipment around. Obviously, the car configuration is very different. For the smaller guys, it's always a big challenge to get a 500 car set aside, especially this year with, you know, the new kit and all the parts that you have to get, and it's been a bit of a challenge, but for sure it's much harder for the teams than for us, I think.
Mary?
I'm curious, with such a long straightaway for the road course, and you said you can now suck up much easier to the car in front. What about passing with the push to pass now that it's just so many total seconds, like 200 seconds? Was it better when you had a limited number of pushes so that the guy in front doesn't defend and cancel out what you're doing?
I tell you what, I honestly don't have an opinion on this. I use whatever I'm being given. You know, problem is somebody's going to say, or a driver's going to say it was better before, another driver's going to say it's better now. Then where do you stand? You know, it's just, at the end of the day, it's whatever INDYCAR decides, and we have to deal with it. You know, whatever. I mean, if it was better before, if it's better now, it is, what we have is what it is, and you got to deal with it the best you can. So maybe I don't answer your question, Mary, but it's just, it's a difficult topic, because drivers always have different opinions.
Bruce?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like it better, because I think it's more tactical. You know, you can get someone to use it and run out pretty quick if you're being smart about it. So, you know, you can get right in the toe and force him to use it and stop it and have him wear it off. So, hey, hello, thanks for stopping by.
Wow.
I got pulled up and almost arrested, so no, that didn't happen. I'm just joking. I was over at IMSP doing some filming.
Bruce?
But,
blame INDYCAR.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I like it quite a bit better that way. I mean, the total time depends on the track and how much you can use it. I think the fact that we're not using it on starts and restart is a really good thing. Definitely tends to avoid some mayhem. So yeah, no, I like the new system.
I guess will give you a chance here. Excited about the weekend, and they were just asked the question: do you come into the month thinking about the GP, or do you think looking ahead too much? Do you catch yourself looking ahead?
I do actually have caught myself the last few days thinking about the 500, because the car is so different. So you're really thinking about what is going to make the car work. But you know, today you'll be sitting down with your engineer, focusing on you know, tomorrow and Saturday. So yeah, I think you'll kind of forget about the 500 for a couple of days, and then, you know, put 100% into being quick on the road course.
Bruce?
This is for Simon and Sebastien. Because of its history with the 24 hours, Daytona's probably got the most successful speedway road course in America. But is this the best speedway road course in America that you've ever competed at?
I mean, yes. Yeah, I mean, how many is there?
Charlotte's going to have one.
Yeah, I've never driven that. Yeah, I mean, personally, I really think so. Definitely different events that we're talking about, but you know, it's definitely a beautiful facility, beautiful road course and speedway. I think we've got the best of both worlds here, so very positive about it. Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, definitely. I think it's the site is big enough that it really allows you to, you know, come up with an interesting layout and really maximize the use of the straight and you know, the oval for us is obviously the, you know, like Daytona wouldn't be a usable option anyway. So yeah, it's much more of a technical and interesting layout, I think, for us.
Steve?
Gentlemen, good morning. With a 2-day event, does that take a lot to get used to from a driver standpoint, and do you like it?
Well, I would say I would have liked to have an afternoon session today instead of the 9 a.m. you know, practice, which is going to be somewhat useless because it's too cold compared to what you're going to get. And we're here anyways, but that's just me saying.
Yeah.
Gonna make friends again.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's, but yeah, it's same for everyone.
Yeah, it's the same for everyone anyways, but yeah.
Will, how do you think, these guys were asked just a minute ago, how do you think the race and the performance of the cars is different this year at this venue? Given the aero changes and, and so forth.
Well, yeah, we don't know how it races yet here, but everywhere else, I mean, it's been better. It's just easier to follow. You don't have a big dirty wake from all the winglets and stuff that was hanging off the old cars. So I can see it being, especially being such a hot day on race day, it being pretty good racing, tire degradation, and you know, people might struggle to come onto the front straight here a bit. So yeah, it will be better than, absolutely better racing than last year.
Do you have a favorite part of the racetrack?
Yeah, I love this track. It's probably my favorite road course because it's so technical and smooth and European-like. But man, they're all corners that lead into complexes. You know, you got turn 1, 2, so you know there's give and take there, and then you got the 7, 8, 9, 10 complex, which is, you know, really technical. So it's yeah, they're all the sets of complexes are all equally fun and interesting.
Wolfgang, take a couple more here. He only has one.
Will, question for you. With the new car and the new aero kit, can you take something over from last year's car, or is everything totally different now that you can more or less throw your data away?
It's quite different. Quite different. I mean, at some of the tracks where you would run max in the old max downforce in the old car, the car is so much faster on the straights. It's a very different aero characteristic the way it behaves. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be a track that we turn up to where the setups are going to be the same. They're all quite different actually.
Tony?
Will, having had RP on your box now for a few races this year, how much of an adjustment has that been, and how excited are you for May to have RP on your box for this month?
I actually don't have him on my box for this month, but it's been I mean, it's been a very easy transition. Obviously, Roger's been doing it a long time, and he was a driver, so I mean, he just gives you all the information that you want to hear, and he's very good, very clear. So it's enjoyable having the boss on the radio.
Anyone else? Well, chances are the man to beat's sitting at this table. Just a matter of which one. So we'll find out. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.